Hey everyone, it's Alexis. I hope you are all doing well today. I don't know about the rest of you, but being a summer baby myself, I am really excited for the upcoming summer season. I love having fun parties and creating bespoke invitations and bespoke decorations and all the things. I do it for all my friends' kids too, so a lot of times I find myself tied for time, and I want to be able to put those personal touches on special moments like that. And so I am all about batch invitation making and batch thank you cards and batch decorations. Anything that I can create quickly but has that own personal flair to it, I'm all for it. So today I'm going to show you how to make quick invitations using our Stencil and Stamp tool in a way that you can actually still put those personal touches on your own parties and special moments and special things just by looking at your invitations in a really unique way, we'll say. So let's get right into it and see how we can make our own invitations this upcoming summer season and realistically for all year round. So let's talk party invitations. I'm someone who likes to create my own invitations. It's just a nice personal touch that you can add to the event, and you can customize and tailor to whatever you might be doing. So I know this is kind of very thematic with the hedgehog, but I do think that there is a lot of parties that are kind of gearing towards woodland creatures, fairies, things of that nature. So this floral hedgehog immediately kind of tied in with some themes that I'd already been looking at. So I just did a generic invitation to show you how quickly you could actually make like 50 of these if you needed to, and that it doesn't take a lot of time to do it. Maybe a couple hours and you'd have everything done and ready and to go in the mail. So we're going to start with the basics. And the first thing that I do whenever I'm creating an invitation is I type it up on my computer and I print it out into the size and cut it down to the size I want it to be. And then if I'm using stamps or die cuts, I use the computer paper as my tester sheet. And this allows me to make mistakes. It allows me to test out colors and see which I prefer, or if I want to use multiple different types of colors. It also allows me to test out the fonts and if I like them or the spacing on something. So I do recommend, if you're going to be doing this at home, print them out on computer paper and make a mock-up version so that when you get to actually making the rest of them, you know exactly how everything has to be sized, you know what colors you want to use, what cardstock colors you're going to back their invitation in if you choose to do so. If you print off on a heavier cardstock, then you don't even need to do that really. But yeah, that's something I did for this, to just kind of test out and see if I liked the spacing, if I needed to adjust anything before I went and actually made a bunch of them. So I'm going to be using our Stencil and Stamp tool today, and I'm going to keep it this direction because of the way I'm going to be working is horizontally with these invitations. You can work vertically as well. I just find that the direction I want to line them up in is this way, which is another beautiful thing about the Stencil and Stamp tool because it has no edges. I can work any direction that I want to, and I don't have to worry about it being done the wrong way or not being able to work to the surface size that I want to. So I've already pre-printed a number of invitations. Some I've already got the hedgehog stamped on, some I've already got the hedgehog with the flowers colored in. It's completely up to you what you want to do with any stamp that you're using. If you're using the floral hedgehog, which I think is super cute. In fact, let me show you the pieces it comes with before we get started. So you get this hedgehog with the flowers attached, but then you also get these additional kind of foliage pieces, a few other flowers, some leaves, so that you can create a wreath shape if you wanted to or add more to it. Then these flowers right here actually work to fill in the flowers on the floral hedgehog wreath portion right here, so you can get them colored in. Now, you don't have to use stamps to color them in. If you have a bit more time, go ahead and get out your colored pencils or watercolors and try it that way. I'm gonna just be using ink today because the whole point is batch making and fast and easy. So you'll see I have this printed invitation. I'm doing this in a 5x7 size is my final card. So I've trimmed this down to 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 so that when I mat them, it's a 5x7 and I can put it in invitation in the envelope that way and get it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna align, because I want to just keep my Hedgehog stamp on the stamp plate on portion of this tool. I'm gonna align my invitations into this kind of corner space right here. And on the sticky grid sheet that it comes with the tool, and then you can apply it to the base, there's a dark center line horizontally and vertically, and I'm going to use that as my guideline for all these invitations. So I'm going to line up the top of the invitation with the top line over here on the grid and use the side of this invitation against the dark line that runs horizontally across, or in this case vertically. And then that way I can just do all of one stamp and be done with it with the Floral Hedgehog and just peel my invitation off and put it off to the side and put the next one down, stamp it, peel, pull it off, put it off to the side. So the first thing I'm gonna do, is I'm not gonna drop this on there when it still has a little bit of ink. I'm gonna place my main stamp where I want it to be. And I'm gonna pull the stamp plate top back across. And I still have some leftover residual ink there. I'm using archival ink. It's a permanent ink, and it's also waterproof. And I prefer to use that because then if you want to watercolor or you want to color with markers, it won't bleed. So I do recommend, if you plan on using a stamp that you want to add a bit of color inside, make sure that you use a permanent ink. I always do a light layer this first one so I can really get a nice imprint by the second time I do it. And because we have it sitting on this hinge, it allows you to get perfect precision every time, which is great. This also helps me see if I need to push harder, and especially with large scale stamps, if there's anywhere you need to push harder to transfer ink, because they can be really detailed. And if you aren't pushing in the right places, sometimes it won't transfer. So there's the first invitation. I always like having a die pick handy because of the sticky grid, and then that way I can just easily start to peel this off. And I'll put that up above. And then all I have to do is line up my next invitation in the same spot that I lined up the previous one. And I don't have to worry about it working because I already know it'll work because I lined up the other one there. I'm just going to ink up my stamp again. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that second one. See where I need to push down a little bit more on the face. And that flower center. I'm going to add just a little bit more ink. I think I didn't add enough on this one side. And that's the beauty of this, is as you do it, if you notice that you didn't ink up your stamp really well, you can go back and add it and make it look more vibrant. So it's really and truly that simple and easy. Now to fill in on this particular stamp, there's a second component, and that is the flowers. So for that one, you're going to pull in this stamp right here and align it on top of the flowers. Now this one has areas that are etched into it so that it looks like it's supposed to have etches in it that are on the petal. So we'll have white spots, but they're intentional. So now I'm just inking up these flowers, and I'm going to stamp that. And instead of having to sit and color in each of them individually, in one swoop, I've got them ready and done. And I love that they're ready to go. And then I will just take off my invitation. Now, because this is such a precise layer, this is not one that you'll be able to keep re-inking without moving. So this one, you'll have to peel this particular stamp and place it, because even just it being like a millimeter off will make all the difference. Thankfully, it's not one that takes a long time to line up. You just have to get it in place. But you can even change out the colors if you don't want to do orange. Let's say you've got like an orange and a pink theme for your party. Maybe you do half the invitations in an orange color and half the invitations in a pink color. But I just like that I can do all the stamping in less than an hour, and then I just die cut pieces to put in for the birthday and I can be done. Like, it really and truly is that simple. So you can see in a matter of a minute, I already have 2 invitations completely ready to go. And all you would just keep doing is lining it back up as close as you can. That just will help you get everything ready to go. And then for this one, just because of the precise nature of this layer, I'm just peeling it off, putting it back on each time. And so I'm using Rose Madder. And for the orange, it's called Tea Rose. And pink and orange are 2 of my favorite color combinations, and pink and yellow are also really fun for summer parties. Okay, so there you have it for the stamping aspect. You literally just print your invitations out, stamp your focal point, add any color that you want onto it, and then the last thing you can do is just personalize it with a die cut and you're ready to go. So let's move on to that next portion. Okay, so the next part of our invitation is we want to add in the birthday for party. So join us for a birthday party. And we have this new die set, and you can see you get these wonderful numbers. This is called Fabulous Birthday Numbers. You also get the word birthday, and the parts that come after. So the first, second, third, all of that kind of stuff in it. So I'm going to be using the birthday from that particular die set today. And then I'm working with our gold opulent cardstock pack to add just a little bit of bling and textural difference to the invitation. Everything else is in black and white or in a pop of color, and gold or silver always go well. So if you're going with cool tones, you can use silver. If you're going with warm tones, you can use gold or rose gold. But there's 5 different textures in our opulent packs, and I'm going to be using a couple of different ones. But that's the nice thing. The opulent packs, you get a number of sheets, so you can kind of mix and match the packs. So what I did was I took 3 of them because I wasn't sure which ones I was going to want to use, and I backed them with an adhesive sheet. So I cut them down to 6 by 6 and backed them with adhesive sheet so that when I die cut this birthday word and it comes out of the paper, I just peel the backing off and it's a sticker. So I'm going to use this matte version real quick, and I will cut these down to size just so that when they're going through the die cutting machine, the rest of the paper isn't getting marked up by old marks in your cutting pads. So I'm just going to use my Sidekick because this is a smaller die and it'll fit through my Sidekick. And because this is a really intricate word, I think I'm gonna, and because it has an adhesive sheet on the back, I'm gonna run it through twice just to make sure that it really cuts out. Okay. pick. Oops. So be careful when you have script words, when you're pulling them out. You want to be gentle so they don't rip apart. And then before I peel off the backing, I do my best to pop out anything that needs to be popped out from in between the letters. So I've got an invitation right here ready to have its word added on. So I'm just going to peel off that protective backing. And then what's nice about this is if I want to, I can play around with it and move it about as I want to, which I think I'm going to with this one. And because it's not a liquid adhesive, it gives it a little bit more, you can mess around with it a little bit more in placement before you push it down. Okay, I'm going to bring this down a bit. Okay, and then you just have to push it into place because it's a sticker, but you can see how quick and easy you can finish having a birthday party invitation. All I did was cut a 5x7 base out of another piece of that opulent cardstock and just adhered it to the invitation itself. But in a matter of a few minutes, you could have, 10 of these ready to go, and then you just cut out those words and then you pack them on paper, and within an hour you could have your party invitations ready to go and be in the mail. So don't be intimidated by doing your party invitations this upcoming season of sunshine is what I'm calling it. And enjoy creating like personal touches for each of your parties or events that you might be having. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this journey through invitations. I hope that you found some inspiration, we'll say, for your upcoming events and birthday parties, and that you don't feel as intimidated to take on making batch invitations yourself. If you have any questions about any of the products I used, please just drop us a question or a comment in the comment section, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you are going to be making your invitations this upcoming summer, I would love to see them, and I know the rest of our team would. So be sure to use the hashtag #MySizzixStory and tag us so that we can see what you're making and share it with everyone else for inspiration. I hope you all have fun crafting this upcoming summer, and that you take a little bit of time to enjoy the moments that you have coming up in this upcoming season of sunshine, we'll say. Until next time, take care, and I will see you soon.